Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we sat down with performing artist Diddi Emah, discussing her 15 plus years as a choreographer and dancer, embracing all of her culture, and carving out her own lane as the Naija Peach. Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and I'm sitting down with artist, choreographer, dancer, just all-around talent, Diddi Emah.
Hello. Yes, you did. You did good. Hello. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Good. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. I know you were recently in a studio with Naima.
Yes.
For her event. Correct me. What was the name of the event?
It was like Diaspora Dialogue.
Yes.
Speaking about how it is to be African growing up in America or anywhere.
Right. And we were just kind of talking about that. We'll get into it. But you actually moved to Atlanta. So you're pretty much, Atlanta native. Essentially, you grew up here. Yeah. From Nigeria when you were 2.
And peach flavored.
Peach flavored.
Yeah.
I like that.
Naija Peach.
Naija Peach. Yeah. So what side of town did you move on when you got to
Grew
Atlanta?
up and went straight to Decatur.
Why is that? Like everybody, I feel like I talked to Naima about that too. Like as soon as just anybody like moves here, that like they go to the east side, it's just like rich in so much culture.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah.
My grandmother had settled before we got here.
Oh, okay.
But she had just moved, and my grandfather had gotten a job at Spelman, and so 2 of my family members ended up going to one Spelman and one Morehouse.
Really?
Because of that job that he got. So it
Nice.
was like a good idea for the family to move. And then when they moved, we came.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So you have actually done a lot in such I wouldn't say a short amount of time, but you've done a lot within the last few years, even just like looking over your EPK and like your bio to see all the amazing talent you've been able to work with.
Yeah.
From, you all probably recognize her from Beyonce's performance. You were the one with the baton.
Yeah, Instagram called me Baton Bay.
Twitter,
Instagram was like Baton Bay. I was like, what does that even mean?
That's hilarious. No, I was like, as somebody who like marched in the band and like we had the twirlers, we had the flag girls and everything. So, I was over here like clutching my like necklace, like, oh my God, she's doing it. She's doing it. Please don't drop it. Like I was just so nervous for you. But you just seem to do it so effortlessly. And then just looking at your performances with the likes of Missy to Jason Derulo to almost anybody in the industry for real, you do it so effortlessly. Like performance is a big part of who you are.
Thank you. Yes. My mother was a performer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, like, what's your family's thoughts towards you being in the arts? Like, both of us having parents who,
foreign.
Migrated here and are foreign or whatever. Thoughts toward career and education are super important. It's like, you go to school.
Period. That's it. That's your life. I'm school. Yeah.
Yeah. You just go to school.
Yeah.
And, so I was wondering, but your mom was a performer.
My mom was a performer. My dad's side, he has a brother that's an artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But none of them ever took it seriously. Like they didn't think that there was a career in it. My uncle, my dad's brother, got hit with one of those situations where somebody stole his song, who was more popular and like took off, and he was like, and there was no laws to protect him from copyright, and then my mother, she was a dancer in Nigeria, and then she moved here. She started an African dance group, but that's as far as it went. She didn't pursue it. And even like my uncle, my mom's other brother, he is an orthopedic surgeon now. But in school at Morehouse, he could step. He was an alpha. He could act. Of course, yeah. So I come from a family that on one side is musical, and the other side we're really funny people, like comedians and dancers. So
wow.
But somehow in that life that I grew up, somehow they were very shocked when I became a dancer. I was like confused.
Why do you think they were shocked?
I don't think that they didn't take it seriously, so they didn't expect me to take it seriously.
Gotcha.
But my mom ended up sending me to an art school only because of the academics. The Cap School of the Arts was a school that I went to in high school, but it was the top in the county for academics. So that's why she sent me there. So she was like confused when I came out wanting to be a dancer. And I was confused looking at her, look at me, be confused. We were just both confused. Shocked. Yeah. What? Yeah.
So now tell me, like, how did you realize personally you could make a career out of performing and like really pursuing the arts? Like, what was that first moment you're like, oh, I can do this?
Oh, okay, good question. Okay, so in that high school, a talent agent came to the high school. She just randomly was like, I'm looking for new talent, blah, blah, blah. And I auditioned for her and I made it.
Nice.
And thank you. And I was not, one of the dancers that people were like, worried about, in school. Like, it was like, oh, she's not really gonna do that well. Yeah, it was like, yeah.
Oh, you're the underdog.
I've always been the underdog. That's the craziest thing. Like, and when I get to a new level in my life, I'm again the underdog. And it's like, damn, I got to start over, But I'm used to being a fighter, so that's just kind of in me. But when I realized it was real, right, was when I had done all these like things to try to get into the industry.
What things like do you do?
Auditions, taking dance classes. I didn't take the dance classes so seriously. We didn't have a lot of money. So I couldn't always pay for dance class. So I wasn't one of those kids. I already thought that I had the odds against me. Like, I wasn't one of those kids that grew up in a dance studio where their parents pay, $20 or $50 a class or whatever to go there. My mama didn't have it. My mama put me in a baton organization where you paid quarterly. You know what I'm saying? And it was more affordable. And it was for a scholarship if you won. So that was more appealing to her. So baton is something I did from the age of 5 to 14. I didn't even touch a college twirling. So how I ended up on Beyonce's stage, child, is God. But once I realized dance was real was when, after some auditions and stuff like that, this choreographer named Jamaica Craft put me in a room with Sierra.
Wow.
And we had a one-on-one session, and I had to teach her how to do my African stuff. And then at the end of that, she paid me. And I was like, oh,
I can do this.
I could do this.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And that was here in Atlanta?
That was here in Atlanta, and that was when I was still in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So recall, I guess, the first major opportunity you received, aside from the Sierra opportunity, where you received whatever kickstarted the career for you. Like, it was like, everybody has a moment or moments that lead up to like, okay, I'm on stage with Beyonce. You know what I mean? Like, like there has to be something. Would you say it was how you were connected with people? Would you say it was just from auditioning tirelessly? Like,
I would say what kickstarted for me actually was YouTube. Shocking. It's like once I became someone that you can bring in and I could like help change up how your artist moved, because I'm giving them my culture, then I became that person. And so I would get asked by this artist to come over and this artist to come over. And I would like kind of jump, through different teams, kind of promoting African dance pretty much.
Gotcha.
But that was like a secretive thing. That wasn't like something that I could be out with because the people liked, people like privacy. Artists like, you to be... for you to respect their privacy. So that wasn't something that I could boast about openly. But what did it for me was my friend named Sean Bankhead, really super huge choreographer, especially now. But back in the day, he had like just these ideas. Like, and that's one thing too I would encourage whoever's listening to do is sometimes you don't know, there's no like map on how to do this thing called life, right? But, community, having a village, your own community of people that you support is important because it can help you kind of hash out some of the things that you aren't sure about. Absolutely. So me supporting him and believing in his dream actually helped me understand mine. And so he had these ideas on videos that he wanted to do. He was like, I want to do videos for dancers, but like they're the artists, but they're the dancers. We were like, we don't get it, but we down. Free dance class, great, And so we did those videos, and the first one was one of the first big ones was to Beyonce Run the World, which is shocking because then, but and it went on YouTube, and like the first month we hit 1 million views. And we were like, and this was in 2010.
I remember that.
And we were blown. Really?
Yeah, so I told you already, but I'm from here. My sister is really big in dance, and like my niece, like we just have a performing arts family as well.
Okay.
So she takes classes, and like we know, of course, Sean Bankhead. It's like and a lot of my friends who dance and do stuff. So of course I've seen that video.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So I was the blonde. I was my head was shaved in that video.
And now I feel like I'm like recognize your face from so many things.
And when he did, and when there's a part in it that I tore a baton in that video. I like marched to the video or whatever. And
that makes sense.
At that time I had just changed my look. People were like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and I just did it. And then everybody loved it.
Image?
My image, yeah, I just shaved all my hair.
Why?
And went blonde.
Why did people feel like that was a bad move?
They just didn't know any better. They were into doing whatever was cool at the time, and that wasn't cool for a girl to not really have hair on her head when a lot of choreography was you swinging hair. Yeah, so it's like, wow, you're doing the opposite of what you need to do, and it actually worked in my favor, and I became the only one in my community that looked like the way that looked the way that I did, and I still didn't. I still would try to kill a stage, so it ended up working. But that video made people see me because I'm always behind the scenes. And so that video made people like see me.
Who's that? Was it like, who's that? Like,
yeah, it was like, who's that girl? Like, and so then I started getting requested to be on stage with people. I was already performing before, but I looked like any other token Black girl, so.
Dope. So how important was it? Because at this point, you have your own music that you are, working or have worked on, and you're putting yourself out there as the artist and cultivating your own sound, mixing it with, your culture and hip hop, essentially. Yeah. So how important was it for you first to learn and like observe other performers before launching your own artist career? Or have you been working towards music this entire time? Like we just didn't know.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
I've been working. I started professionally dancing in around 2004. So I was in the industry, back then. And so by 2010, I learned so much and, wanted to stretch. And so in 2010, I started recording music. But at the time, Afrobeat was not a thing here.
Right.
Afrobeat is just now becoming a thing, 2017, 2018. So you can imagine trying to be at the forefront of something. People didn't know. They as they do, they don't latch on to stuff until they become followers. They're not really leaders. So only a few people, wanted to play around with the sound. One was like Mr. Hanky, who does
we just had him on
Best Life. Yeah, he was like, yo, I want to, he was one of the people that wanted to throw me in the studio and like figure out what this sound was going to be, so I've been working towards it the whole time. But also the issue is that I battled myself because when you are when you understand something from another angle, from the back end and from the business end, I wanted to understand more of the business part because I kept seeing people get
played.
Yeah. Firsthand, you would see it. You on tour with them 1 minute, next minute, everything's over. And I just didn't want to have that story, So I learned from every experience, whether I got it or didn't get it, and just kept building the sound and then finally released something that I was proud of. And it happened to be after Coachella. I wanted to release something before Coachella. Then when I got the Coachella opportunity, it kind of like stopped that process again. And that was always a thing, Sometimes as a creative, when you're trying to build something new, money, you're a slave to money. You got to go where the money is. And not all the time does that dream see the sun because you're constantly working to just keep your head above water.
Facts.
As an artist, you struggle a lot. You know what I mean? So that definitely hit me too. But when I released my song, 2 days after, I got it placed. So
that's what's
I was like, oh, okay, well,
that's
it is.
beautiful. I mean, but it's also not your timing. You know what I mean? It's just the way it's supposed to happen. So I think that was kind of God's timing.
God's timing. I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Grateful.
So I have a question because I'm like, okay, you've been in this industry. You say you said 2004. It's 2019. That's a long time. It's 15 plus 15 years of really putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you're just now seeing the reward from it, or do you feel like you're still trying to strive towards that reward?
One thing's crazy. T.D. Jakes said that success doesn't look like success to you, right? So I might seem successful to other people, but for me, I'm not there yet. I'm still hungry. I'm still fighting. Very grateful for my accolades. I think more recently I've received accolades. Like I received an award for Best Dancer in Africa. Like for the African Grammys, like I received that award.
Congrats.
Thank you. So, that's cool. And now, like, I am somewhat of an expert in my field.
Right.
And, people want to learn from me and they want to hear from me. So I have a show in Nigeria that I'm a judge on, and I get to help train new dancers and help mold them and actually help hire them and kind of get their foot in the door personally. You know what I mean? So I think, as you grow and build and have a good foundation, you got to give. So you can get, what I mean? So I know, I'm still in it.
So how would you define success for you? Because that was kind of what I was getting at. So I'm happy you pulled that out. But like, people will assume based upon the perception. Because like, to me, I'm like, damn, she's doing like everything, like she's up here with like A-list talent and beyond. And you are that talent because of where the bar has been set, right? So to us, it's like, oh, damn, she doing her thing. Like, what else is there? But for you, you're like, I'm not even anywhere near for me. So how would you define success for you? Like, what does that look like? Success
for me looks like having a family of my own, being able to retire my mother.
Absolutely.
I'm not there yet. I want to have my own school. I have a school now. Like that's why I'm a chief. I have a school now in Nigeria. That's why I'm a chief. But because I gave the school, I donated computers to the school. Nice. It was their first time ever seeing computers. This was like 2007, 2008.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yeah.
Wow.
So, but I want a university. I want an arts university, like a Juilliard, but in Africa.
That's what's up.
And I want to thank you. I just feel like, as artists, you should never have to not have a place to sleep, not have food to eat. And I dealt with that. And at times people thought I was successful. I dealt with some of my lows at some of my career peaks. And, I just want to help those that are coming after me. And so I'm working towards that dream every day. And even if I never see it with my own eyes, it has to happen. You know what I mean? So that is success to me. And, healing, music is healing. Whether it makes you happy, that's the best, medicine is laughter and joy. So music is healing, in my opinion. Being honest about my life and my music is also healing, But then, I feel like I could encourage some people as well. You know what I mean? So performing has been my love of my life since I was 3 years old. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I really see myself doing. So just, climbing this ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me ask you, how do you balance all of your talents? Because often, as creatives, there are multiple things that you do, right?
Yeah.
But in a space where you're like, with Sierra or whatever, like helping her with her choreography and like showing her, new moves, essentially that's probably not the time to have the conversation of like, oh, I'm an artist as well.
Yeah. Definitely not the time to have that conversation ever. Yeah.
Right. But I feel like you obviously understand that because you've been in plenty of rooms where you could have.
Yeah.
But you separate the two.
Yes.
So
you have to.
How do you go about balancing though? I mean, because what if it is an opportunity where you're like, well, this might be the time to have that conversation?
It's something that I still struggle with because I never want to come off as an opportunist. I am one of those people that if I am working on something, everything that I do is working towards that goal for you.
Gotcha.
I'm such a supporter, so I just do my best for that person. And what I hope and what kind of has happened is like a word of mouth kind of thing. Like, oh, did you know Diddi was, and my way of going about it was just do it. Just shoot your own video. You know how it's supposed to look. Just shoot it. Don't ask for help. Save your money and just shoot it right. And then you'll gain their respect. That's kind of the approach that I took. Gaining respect of the same people, of my peers, not just wanting a handout or wanting somebody to scratch my back, and I'm in hopes that gaining your respect sets me apart from the other dancers that are pursuing music that really is really for the money. They don't really have a why as to why they're doing it. They're doing it for popularity. You know, I'm doing it for longevity. I'm doing it for, you know, several other reasons. On top of it bringing me joy.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But because I also write. And I write for other people as well, which is something that I don't really talk about. But, you know, just wanting to be taken seriously, you know. So that's been one of my biggest things.
That's good. It's a balance.
Yeah.
Is there a certain etiquette when you're working with certain or with A-list talent that you tend to adhere to when it's like, I mean, you pretty much talked about not having certain conversations, not mixing certain things, but beyond that, like, okay, I'm in rehearsal and we're rehearsing for this huge performance. We're rehearsing for an award show. Like, is there a certain etiquette as a dancer, as a choreographer that you think you would tell to other people to abide by, adhere to?
Yeah, be on time, be professional. You know what I'm saying? Don't get comfortable, because I've seen people get fired at sound check. Like, this is sound check. The show is tomorrow, and they're completely fired. You know what I mean? So, I was gonna cuss.
You can.
They're completely the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? So, you know, just make sure that you fight until the end. It's not a real job until the check is in the mail, and then you're like, okay, I worked for that. So I've seen people get comfortable. I've seen people not get chosen because their attitudes are bad. Don't think that choreographers and people don't talk. We talking to each other. We know that you have a horrible attitude. We know that you're difficult. We know that you gonna be the one to go bang the artist. We ain't hiring you on this job. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because we want our artists to respect the other dancers. We don't want to deal with a lawsuit for you. You know what I mean? So, and you have other people that are just there to push their music as well. There's dancers that's in there just to slide their music to the manager. That's dangerous. Because you got to watch your back. You don't even know that you got to. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing is build your relationships. That's my biggest thing. Build your network. I didn't know that I didn't have a network in dance or in my industry until 2010. So that was 6 years I went without a network, without understanding that I needed to know people. And not just know them because I see you at the gig, but like genuinely be interested in their life.
Right.
Let's go to lunch. You know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, I'm babysitting your kids or whatever it is, and we actually build a friendship. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And then as friends, later on down the line, you can look out for them. They can look out for you. And you can have somebody have your back. Because this industry is crazy.
Cutthroat.
It's cutthroat. It's some dark people. But there's some people that have a light as well. You know? So it's whatever you want, you're going to find.
Right. Right. Whatever you're
That's
trying
guaranteed.
To,
Whatever you're trying to get, you're trying to get money, you're going to get the money. It's going to cost you. You know? So just respect yourself and don't forget to work. It is still work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
You gotta enjoy it.
Yeah.
So filming for like major productions, because you've been on, you have so many things that you've done. I was trying to remember. But Star,
yeah.
Versus on Fox versus dancing on an award show or a tour, you know what I mean? Like a live show.
Yeah.
Live
tours
versus,
are fun.
Yeah, tours. I'm sure they're fun.
I love tours.
Really? Why do you love tours?
Traveling. You get to travel on someone else's expense. You get to live in dope hotels on somebody else's card.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Wow. I mean, and then I get paid. Are you telling me this is life? Wow. Sign me up, baby. Please. So I love tours. But yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, I appreciate it because I was going to ask you, like, how's it filming for like a production versus, or a television show or whatever versus a live show?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously with live shows or like award shows and things, we know like how it is, how they film. But at the same time, a lot of these things, I mean, that's just very different. Like you're doing things over and over again, but it's also dance. So the way you express yourself is a little different each time.
Yeah.
So how would you say that difference, the difference in like a live opportunity versus filming for a show?
Live opportunity, it's over fast. You know, you do an award show, you do a sound check, that maybe lasts. Some sound checks can last maybe 30 minutes because the artist got to literally check the sound, check the lights, you know, figure out the spacing, figure out the camera marks and all of those things. And so that is, you know, that seems long at the time, but it's over fast. After that sound check, you go get dressed, go get in makeup, you come back on stage, you perform it once. If you mess up, doesn't matter, next artist, you know what I mean? But for film, to complete, it takes about, like for Star, it takes us 2 weeks to film one episode.
Wow.
So something that an episode comes on each week, it takes us 2 weeks. It takes us double the time, per episode to film. So when we're filming a scene, that one scene of maybe 10 minutes lasts all day. Shooting for 10 minutes takes you all day to shoot. And when I mean all day, I mean being on camera in heels, sweating and dancing for 5 or 6 hours, taking a lunch break and getting back up and doing it again, over and over again. You can't have attitude. You can't be complaining. Or if you want to, you can. You just won't be hired for the next time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what does that feel and look like? Extras, they have it bad because some of them don't even understand what the process is. So by the time they get in the room, they be the first ones to complain. My feet hurt, all this, I'm tired. I'm never coming back,
Right.
And they don't understand that it's work. All of it is work. So the difference is your professionalism. Can you last through something and stand in heels and work for 8 hours?
How did you come across that star opportunity?
Wow. Okay, so I was in LA, Sean booked Star, and I got a call to come on as his assistant choreographer because it was a lot of scenes, and you just cannot. He's not an octopus, nor is he a clone, nor is he a twin. So he needs a team to help and be supportive. And I have been one of the people that have been around his career since really the beginning, and so he trusted me to come on to that project to support him. And when it got to a place when he was busy, even when you're doing one production, that doesn't pay your bills. It might cut you a check, and that's really nice, but you don't settle there. You might have had other obligations that you are trying to fit in. So he was working like 3 different gigs at the same time, flying from coast to coast, needing to be at 2 places at once. So that's how I got on that job, is to come and be his support. But guess what? I started that in 2007 when he had an idea. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And then fast forward, I'm still a part of his empire to this day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I got that opportunity. And it's been dope. I've been on since the pilot. Now we're in season 3. That is super amazing, as a show to be able to clear 3 seasons, to be able to introduce a new idea to people, you know what I'm saying? And I've made great friends from that show.
Yeah.
Great friends. Like the lead, Jude, she is like... I say I'm her baby daddy, but I can't say that now because she actually has a baby. But she is like one of my closest friends, actually.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you talk about, or what you've talked about throughout this conversation, is really, building that core support system and valuing those relationships from the beginning. Because, you connecting with Sean Bankhead from the beginning, you might not have known that this would have
had no
been
idea.
What it is.
Couldn't even dream this big. Didn't know to dream this big. It hadn't happened before.
Right.
Not to someone that young, shows didn't film in Atlanta.
Right.
They filmed in LA. You know what I'm saying? So I could never see it. But you just gotta have, go about things for the right reasons. And God will align you with people along the way. You're definitely gonna have provision along the way. But it's your intentions,
That's gonna keep you there. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So we talked about this off the record, but on the record, how important is it for you to have embraced your culture, your life, your entire life, even prior to the trendiness that we see around African culture, Afro beats right now, especially in music? So you said you describe your sound as, like a fusion of your heritage and like also your experiences being in Atlanta, like seeing hip hop or whatever.
Yeah.
But prior to this being a trendy thing, you're like legit Nigerian. So it's like,
oh wow, legit Nigerian. I smelled like fish, just like some of you. Goat meat was my favorite cologne, apparently, and kids called me all kinds of African booty scratcher. And I had to fight so much because I was tired of the talking. Like, first of all, I didn't even speak English coming into this country.
Really?
Yeah, English was not my first language. It wasn't even my second. It was my third language.
What's your first and second language?
Ibibio is my first. Ibibio is one of the languages in Nigeria. Nigeria has so many languages. You know what I mean? People think it's all one language. We're colonized by the British, so we speak English to each other.
Right.
But in our own villages, in our own states, each state almost has a different language.
Right.
So you can imagine, anyway, so Ibibio was one of my first languages. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And then my grandmother on my dad's side was from Cameroon, so she spoke French. So, and I grew up with her as well. So I used to mix Ibibio and French. So my mother and I always had communication issues because here you have a little part French daughter and you don't even know what she's saying, half the time. So imagine me coming to America. I'm mixing English, French, Ibibio, like nobody understood me. So I would be very angry. I was very happy and then I could be very angry because I was always misunderstood. Yeah. Right. So, so then fast forwarding into school and the kids are not understanding what braids are about. Everybody's getting their hair pressed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not in Nautica and Fubu. I'm in Goodwill clothes, hand-me-downs. You know what I mean? Like, I was not that cool girl. Mm-hmm. I was always fine. Let's really understand that. Let's be very, very clear about that. But bullies don't care. You know what I mean? They don't care how you look.
No, it's even worse when you are attractive. I
mean, the little boys don't know how to act, Lord. Get out my DMs. But growing up here, not only was it almost a shameful thing to be African, but then on top of that, to be Nigerian, the stuff they would say about us in the news, which, I mean, yeah, granted, there's people that do steal, there's people that are fraudulent. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But what if somebody said that every black man in America was a gangster?
Right.
How would you feel about that? It's not true. You get what I'm saying? Right. So I had to deal with those stereotypes, black stereotypes and African stereotypes and Nigerian stereotypes. So it was tough. And so the first chance I got, I learned as much English as I could and I dropped my accent. Mm. Had to give it up. Go. I mean, either my knuckles were going to be swollen every day or I was going to have to try to blend in. So I tried to blend in. But when I get home, it's like I'm in Wakanda. Like, drop the bag and Wakanda start. You know what I mean? Like, African food. Mama's walking around in a wrapper, like a cloth tied around her. She's on the phone speaking to Ibibio. Like, I'm in Africa. I'm cooking African foods, So I just always had two different lives. I was like a double agent. In my African community, I did so much. But in my American community, it was like, okay, I just seemed American. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until dance made it dope. It wasn't until I would bring it out every now and again because I was different in dance. And people would be like, oh, that's dope. That is what persuaded me that it was dope to be where I was from. And more and more and more as I grew in my profession, I represented for myself. And then every now and again, especially towards the 2010s and 2012s and 14s, I started meeting other Africans in entertainment. And I think it's really important for us to be proud of where we're from because you have a network. You know what I'm saying? It's like being black and being in Atlanta, coming from Atlanta, and then going to move to Australia. Right. It's like if you meet another person from Georgia, y'all family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, it's not many of you out there. So that's how, as Africans, we are in America. When we meet other Africans, when we meet other Nigerians, we are family now because there's not a lot of us here. So we all we got. And so that was a network in itself. And more than anything, especially after Coachella, so many Nigerians reached out to me from the first Nigerians. We have our first bobsled team. So, they reached out and said they were proud of me. DeVito called me on FaceTime,
that's so beautiful.
And everybody was just and I was like, dang, we really do have a network now. And I was proud of that. So I don't know. I had to learn to be proud. It wasn't something that it was automatic at first.
Absolutely. I can attest to that as well. And also just, how do you feel, I personally want to know, how do you feel that it is a trend, though? It's almost now we'll pay you for your culture.
Yeah.
Does that make you, are you, of course there's, joy in it, but there's also, it's kind of weird.
I think I'm very grateful about the whole thing. Yeah. I just think that, especially, I feel like Black Panther landing at the time that it did, the climate, in America when it came to African Americans, and I joke and I say Afro and or Americans, but African Americans, the climate, it was just so tense. So many killings of Black men, Black women for nothing, and then here you go, a movie shows you in a light that you've never seen yourself on camera. Media has a really strong influence. Mm-hmm. Movies have a really strong influence, because people can connect. And so here we are as superheroes. Here we are as the smartest the most innovative, and the fact that they protected that because they knew that people, if they knew about it, would come and destroy it or come and want to, exploit it, was powerful. It was a very powerful message. So I think that as well helped push the Afrobeat music. It made blacks be like, all right, so where am I from? Because I want to go to Wakanda. Where's the first? Somebody be like, somebody be like, where's Wakanda? I'd be like, baby, when you find out, please let me know. I want to go there too. Stop asking me stupid questions. Nonsense. My goodness, Wakanda, it's not even a real place. But for some people, it was real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, even how it portrayed black women.
So strong.
And we are, compared to every other race in this country, the most inferior. We're the most underappreciated. So the movie just did the opposite. And I think that is really what made people that once called me an African booty scratcher be in my DMs like, yo, can I get a ticket to your show? I was like, wow, so you're here now. Wow. The answer is no. Go and sit down.
I love this. I want to know, reaching certain milestones in your career, being right now is a good opportunity for you to be present and appreciate where you are. I love to have people sit down who are like, but I'm still going. But now, you can really see wow, I did this, that, and the third as we go throughout your journey. But I want to know, how do you continue to grow and elevate as an artist overall, with all that you're doing? When you've reached certain points, we know you did this and you did that, but for you, you're like, well, I still have more to do, more places to go. What's next for you?
What's next for me is music. What's next for me is defining who the Naija Peach is. I'm very Nigerian and I'm very Atlanta. And somehow that's hard for people to understand how that can coexist. They act like, I am the first in my mom's generation to come to America and go to college. So we're still, building from there.
For sure.
But there's so many other blah, 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 and American, African American, Indian American, you know what I mean? Brazilian American. And the thing about it is Africa runs so far. There are Africans, Brazil, that is what Brazil is. You know what I mean? Caribbeans, we're still Africans. South Americans, there's still Africans there, especially Guyana. We're everywhere. We're spread everywhere. We're in Australia. Africans, indigenous, you know what I mean? Have been there. And so it's just kind of to connect it all, we just got to make sure that, that we're constantly seeking our heritage. For me, even though I was born Nigerian, I still want to know more about Nigeria itself. I still want to know more about Cameroon itself. And so in the music, I hope that my drive to continue to define who I am and what I am here to do inspires other people to seek and figure out for themselves, and inspires people to come to Nigeria sometimes. Come try it out. Oh, you think that we're poor. You think that when you go, you're going to live in a hotel hut, right? Your hotel is going to be a hut. Nonsense. There's in Nigeria, we have a place called Victoria Island. It is the new Dubai. We have made land out of water, filled up, sand, and created beautiful hotels and lounges. Yeah. And guess what? The Lebanese bought it up. Chinese are all in Africa. Why are black people not in Africa? People are there. People have moved. I've seen why people move to Nigeria. Move. Why is it that black people are so discouraged? You know what I mean? It's doper than you think. My hat is from Nigeria. People are like, oh my God, I love your hat. This is common. This is a chief hat. So even if Nigerians see this, they can know exactly where I'm from this hat alone. Right. The culture is so rich and it's so deep that, I don't know. People they just can't connect the two. Like somebody asked me earlier, how do you have an accent, an American accent or African? Is it this or that? It's both. Yeah. I'm American and I'm also African. Right. Yes. I can eat fries with fufu and throw it all together. Jollof rice and ice cream. I like the things together, you know? You know what I mean? So I'm just representing for those for us foreigners.
Right.
You know, us first generation anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we need each other. We have more similarities than we have differences.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, for people who are, you know, aspiring to do what you're doing, be it choreography, be it I want to dance on like these big stages, how does someone go about landing these like major performances? How do you go about putting yourself in the room? I know you said earlier, in which we know nobody's journey is going to be the same.
Right.
But just from your experience, what would you suggest to somebody that's young and excited?
To someone that's young and excited, I think, you know, use Instagram, use social media, like use it, but don't let it go to your head. Don't think because you have 2 million followers on social media that you're all of a sudden going to be in demand for every professional job. Yeah, sometimes they might come to you, but try to learn the business of what you're trying to get into. You know, don't just think that the rules that you make up is what it is, because whatever that thing is, that industry existed before you got here. So there are rules. You know what I mean? Try to learn them. You know what I mean? Try to learn etiquette. Try to learn what the rates are.
How do you do that? Do you ask?
Dancers Alliance. You can Google Dancers Alliance. You can try to join SAG and AFTRA, which is a union that has been working tirelessly to gain rights for performers. There's a lot of performers out here that don't know that they can get health insurance. You know what I'm saying? Retirement, but you have to join a union. You got to be a part of those things in order to access that. So don't be up here charging whatever you think you're supposed to charge. There is a guideline to that thing. You got to respect the industry you're trying to get into. You get what I'm saying? But also be innovative. Don't set up so many excuses for yourself. If you say that you're a professional, that you're an artist, why when I go on your page are you mowing lawns? You know what I mean? Like, promote your artistry. If you say that you're a dancer, promote your artistry. You don't know how many times Missy has gone on Instagram like, you got a dope dancer? Yeah, Missy. What's their name? And I tell them the name, and then she types it in, and then she has to scroll for life before she finds one dance video. Why are you not putting out dance videos weekly? How serious are you taking your business? You just think it's going to happen overnight? People think I got on Coachella stage overnight, baby. That took me 14 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, use it, but then like take it seriously. Like, learn the business and know that you got to be consistent. Yeah.
So what's one of your like favorite what's one of your favorite moments being on stage, like that you can recall, or maybe on set, or anything that we have not necessarily discussed just yet? Like, what's been that moment you're like, whoa, I just killed it?
Oh wow. It's so interesting because as a dancer, as a performer, like, think about it this way. Like, let's say you're a surgeon, right? And you are a brain surgeon. Okay, Wednesday you have a brain surgery. Next Wednesday you have a brain surgery. After a while, it's just life. You know what I mean? So after a while, as a performer, it's just a part of your life. It's just your livelihood. You're just trying to make ends meet, and it happens to be on stage. You know what I mean? So it's important to keep your reputation clean. You know what I'm saying? Keep your legs
closed.
The national treasury. The natural treasury. Just close it a little bit. Maybe you'll get further. You know what I mean? But for me, I didn't, like, after Coachella, like the first week that we filmed, the show was on a Saturday. Sunday, I woke up with my wig off and DeVito screaming at me, talking about, "We proud of you." And I was like, somebody help me get my wig. I don't even know where it's at. I'd like threw the phone down and tried to go like run and get it. Yeah. So, you know, like, my cousin was telling me, Black Twitter is going crazy over you, girl. Like, wake up. Instagram trying to find you. You know, I had baton babe before I even woke up. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I didn't realize it. I don't realize it until I have these talks of what that was. You know what I mean? For me, it was, she's amazing. I'm honored to be in the room with her. You know what I'm saying? And once that gig is done, I gotta eat. I gotta go to my next job. I can't dwell on that was still a job for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not until, you know, things like this, or somebody come up to me in a grocery store and say, "You're that girl," or whatever, or a little girl sees me and starts crying, like let's stop being weird, guys. Come on, just give me a hug. And why are you crying? You know what I mean? So
yeah, but like that, you know, it's crazy. a little weird at first, but how much you can impact somebody and not know them. Like, I mean, that's what you do with your music.
It went so far. Like, I have a video that I posted on my page of this little boy in the street. He's like twirling a stick, but he's like trying to do some of the routine. And I just thought that was so dope. And I wish I knew where the origin of the video was. He looks like it's somewhere, you know, some kind of like Hispanic area. I'm not sure, but I did post it on my page. Somebody shared that video with me, and I was just like, it's just amazing how pursuing what you love can really truly like almost like shift somebody else's whole journey. You can set them right back on track just by doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just grateful for the whole thing, for all of it. Everything Missy, just learning from Missy. Like, she is like my big sister. Like, she'll call me at like 3 or 4 in the morning and feel like talking, and I'm trying to figure out how to get my eyelids to unstick. And she is like, and she'll talk and talk and talk and talk until like, I've been on the phone with her till like 8 in the morning before. And part of me wanted to be like, dang, I'll be wanting to go back to sleep. And the other part of me is like, Missy Elliot is on the other end of your phone. Like, get up and wake up and listen to whatever it is that she has to say. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just being grateful all the time is really important, because it helps you count your blessings.
Absolutely.
For sure. And it keeps you motivated.
Sure thing. So outside of all the amazing things we talked about, music, dance, choreography, hidden stages and sets, entrepreneurship is, I mean, the center of what all of this is. You know, it's under entrepreneurship. But we were talking about your businesses that you got set up, and I'm just like, how does she do it?
Team. I have a good team. Okay. And I'm still looking for people on my team. You know what I mean? Wherever you are. Diddi Emah at Instagram. Shameless plug. Very shameless.
No, it's totally
DIDDIEMAH. I am still building my team. You know, I was a part of other people's success stories, and by being a great member on their team, it's gotten me far in my career. You know, it's time for me to reach back and train some other people up in the things that they want to do. I got a lot of information to give. You know what I mean? But a team, you know, so I have a team working on the music. You know, working on getting more placements, working on getting my purses placed on television, working on getting my hair, get into the hair.
Yes, no, I look, we had our whole conversation.
Yeah, she was like, how long did it take you to do those twists? I was like, baby, I wasn't there when they were twisting it. Okay, get into these wigs, buy my wigs. You know what I mean? But business is important. You have to have multiple streams of income. And as a creative, sometimes we try to limit our creativity or our gifts to just one thing, because people tell us you can't spend, like, two things can't exist at the same time. You can't, you know, give something 100% of your energy if you have to divide it with something else. And as all that is true, it does not mean that you can't work on it and delegate task and gradually get to the finish line. There is no zooming. You know what I mean? So the clothing company that I have now, I've tried before and failed. I've tried an online store before and failed. Tried to resell other things and failed because I wasn't passionate about what I was selling. Now I offer just African things that are made with African hands, things that I've co-designed, things that I have influenced and upgraded, updated, and now when I wear it, it looks dope. And when I wear it, people already associate it with something high end. And that's what I want people to understand. I want people to understand to love African things, to incorporate it in their daily. And when I walk around with my chief hat, when I walk around with any of my crowns, 'cause I also sell other crowns, when I walk around with my crowns, people treat me differently. I literally get treated like royalty. I feel like I'm home. You know what I mean? So it's important to embrace. Part of embracing yourself is embracing yourself. Absolutely. Embracing all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the deep, the dark. You know, like, embrace all of it and just make it all make sense. Figure out what the why is in your situation. So my why is to endorse talent that wouldn't get seen, talent that is just usually on the streets of my village. I mean, when are you casually walking through Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria? Never. You know what I mean? But this purse is dope, and I want to show it to everybody. So I want to put it online. So I have an online store.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying? But I am empowering women. I am empowering men. I'm helping them feed their families and send their kids to school with my business.
Absolutely.
So there's no stopping. You know what I mean? And I have more than one company, you know, so that's a lot. But my intentions for the past few years has just been to work for myself full time. And what does that look like? What does that feel like?
It looks like however you want it to look like.
Girl, it look like throw on this wig and go to this interview, baby. Get up out the bed. You tired, but sleep whenever you dead, baby girl. Get out the bed. Come on, let's do this.
Same. I feel you completely. Like, I've never related more to something. But wow. Yeah, you do a lot of amazing things, and I'm happy that I was able to sit down with you and talk about it, get it out there, get your story out there, because, everybody has a unique story and unique past. So I'm excited for the music. What do we have out right now? What are we promoting?
Okay, so I have a song called Dakara out right now. It means stand up. Mm-hmm. And it's just a story about, being proud of where you're from. Mm-hmm. And I can't even talk. It ended up being a very universal, international record.
For sure.
And it hit home with a lot of people. We've submitted it to different, movies as well.
Nice.
So we're seeing how it comes back. So I ain't going to speak on where we've submitted it to. But so Dakara's out. Now I'm coming up with a project called Naija Peach. And it is defining what it is to be Nigerian and Atlanta at the same time. What does that look like? I'm very Atlanta. I'm peach flavored. Just in case any of the daddies are here.
I don't know.
She's peach flavored. She likes money.
Same.
Yeah. Lots of money. I like trips. With my girlfriends, you can stay at home. But as women, I tell stories as women too. Like, and we want to be, like, just because I'm a boss don't mean you can't take care of me. Oh, yeah, open your checkbook. What are we doing here? So like, the music has a lot to say. Mm-hmm. I actually have a song right now with Princess from Crime Mob.
What?
Yes. That's it's called For the Daddies Only. It's a great record. Yeah, it's a great record.
I gotta listen to it. That's some real Atlanta shit.
It's really Atlanta. My whole project that I'm working on right now is really Atlanta. I only aspire to work with Atlanta artists that want to cross over into the African market.
Got you.
But then it's not Afrobeat. Like, it is Afro trap.
Afro trap.
It is Afro pop. It's Afro universal. You know what I mean? So I'm down to work with artists that are ready to mix it in. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, the project's pretty dope.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it too. Like, the visuals are crazy as well. You know what I mean? So when that drops, I plan to like change a couple things.
I'm excited for you. No boundaries. We're just doing it. We're embracing who we are.
Yeah, we don't have time for nonsense and wasting time. Who has time to waste time? That's stupid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I'm excited for what we have next. And tell them where they can find you and all of the amazing things again.
Yes, daddies, you can find me in my DM. Make sure you start with your black card. And with a PIN number.
Period.
For everybody else. You can find me on Instagram, Diddi Emah, DIDDIEMAH. DIDDIEMAH. You can find me on my website, DiddiEmah.com. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you can follow my online stores. You can see my group called the Aphrodisiacs. I have an African burlesque group that's going to start doing shows in Atlanta, live Afrobeat nights. And you'll get a chance to come into our world and feel like you're partying in Lagos.
That's dope.
But you don't ever leave Atlanta. You know what I mean? So, and also look out for my retreats. Having a retreat in December for anybody. The limit is 10. Once I reach 10 people, then we cut it off. But I am allowing people to actually come this time with me. I'm always sharing my experiences. And this time I'm bringing people with me when I go back in December. So just be on the lookout for those things. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm excited about it.
That's what's up. And as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And you can find this podcast anywhere at IDM Podcast, as well as myself at Sammy Approved on all social media platforms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sammy, 2 M's?
Yeah. SAMMY approved, like the stamp.
Yes.
Stamp that.
Boom.
We stamped that.
Yeah.
Period.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great.